Gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the universe, here in this great hall of justice, are the most powerful forces of good ever assembled.
I'm Batman.
Easy, miss. I've got you.
You've got me! Who's got you?
Dooby-dooby-doo, where are you? We got some work to do now. Wonder Woman! Wonder Woman!
Mr. McGee, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me you built a time machine? Out of a DeLorean?
I'm Conor MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod. I was born in 1518 in the village of Glenfinnan on the shores of Loch Shiel. I am immortal.
I'm Captain Kirk.
I'm a doctor. But probably not the one you expect.
Welcome to Geek This Week, and winter is here. Game of Thrones has returned to HBO, and to celebrate the 7th season of Game of Thrones, this is the Game of Thrones panel from 2017 Pensacon at the Saenger Theater in Pensacola, Florida. On this panel is Ellie Kendrick, who plays Meera Reed on Game of Thrones, and Daniel Portman, who plays Podrick on Game of Thrones. In this panel, they talk about their characters on Game of Thrones and their experiences in filming the past 6 years of Game of Thrones. 12 minutes into this panel, a third guest joins the panel. David Bradley, Walder Frey, joins the panel. He talks about his experience on Game of Thrones, plus his other experiences with Harry Potter, Doctor Who, and much, much more. So celebrate Game of Thrones by watching the Game of Thrones panel from the Pensacon 2017 at the Saenger Theater in Pensacola, Florida. And remember, winter is finally here. Also, leave a like on this video and check out all the other great videos on Geek This Week YouTube channel. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. How has your Pensacon been so far? Really having a good time, it sounds like. It's great. Well, welcome to the Saenger. I am Mike Inslee, the chairman and founder of Pensacon. I will be your moderator today for this Game of Thrones panel. I've done these, this is my third one that I've done. I really enjoy them. These are some of my favorite guests that we have here at the convention. I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan myself. Of course, one of these guests has been with us before. We had a great panel with him if you were here for that one. He's a trip, and we can't wait to talk with the other guests. So without further ado, let's bring him out. First up, we have Mr. Daniel Portman. You know what I'm talking about? And you know her as Meera Reed, the lovely Ellie Kendrick.
You're also pretty, Lucky.
So I think we have a unique thing here, and that you're both still alive on the show.
Right?
For the moment. We don't know what happens next season yet. So, is it hard when you do a show like this that when people, because people do die off so frequently, that you lose people that you work with all the time?
Yes, I mean, it's been pretty hard for Meera. I mean, shut your ears if you haven't watched season 6, but so Jojen, Christian, even the direwolf, everyone is dropping off like flies in her storyline, so pretty, and all the children of Forest, like everyone's going right down there, so yeah, it's been a pretty tough time for Meera.
See, I've just kind of avoided it. It's just been fine for me. Not really come across that many dead people, so it's been A-okay.
It's better when you kill them off. I've enjoyed killing off some whites in my time, that's pretty good.
Haven't had that luxury yet.
So, Daniel, we didn't see you much in the last season.
Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah. So, are we going to see more of you coming up? Can you tell us that?
I mean, I could.
Can you tell me backstage afterwards?
Again, I
Okay,
could.
let's do that. Alright. So,
Sorry?
Not fair. We won't tell.
Mob mentality, wow.
So when we last spoke up here, one of the questions I asked, and I want to get Ellie's take on this as well, is if you were not playing the character that you're playing on Game of Thrones, who would you play?
Brienne, definitely. Not so I can hang out with him. Anyway, no, I just think that she's such a cool character, and also she gets to wear a really awesome suit of armor. She's really badass. I really like her. So either her or a dragon.
Daniel?
Who did it say last time?
I don't remember.
Reek. I mean, yeah, no, like, I would like to say Lady Olenna Tyrell, the Queen of Thorns, because she wears a headdress then, like a wimple, like a nun.
Looks great in that.
She doesn't need to do hair in the morning. She generally gets to film in nice locations, and she eats cake. And you know, she eats cake and she's a bit sassy, and yeah, everybody loves her, so that would be my #1 choice.
So when we did see you last season, Daniel,
In the very, very infrequent parts, we did see me.
you had a lovely reunion though. I thought it was a great moment. How was that moment to shoot last season?
Which reunion?
You got to see Ron again.
Oh yeah, right, no, so that was a lot of fun. He's great, man. Jerome's amazing. That was a day of getting slapped in the face. And yeah, slapped in the face and getting my junk grabbed by Jerome. That was my day. Pretty
Just an average day.
standard day, getting battered about and sexually harassed. That's showbiz.
And Ellie, of course, you've had some of the most, I think probably in Game of Thrones fans' minds, one of the most emotionally gut-wrenching moments in the history of the show. And there's been a lot in that show, but we learned what Hodor's name meant. How was that scene to shoot, and how has the reaction been since that's happened, and how have people reacted to you?
Well, like as soon as I read that scene, I knew it was going to be something really special. I was really excited to make that scene because it's just, no one saw it coming, least of all us. I mean, we genuinely don't know what's going to happen next to the show, so it was a real surprise. And yeah, filming it was funny because, you know, it's such a technical scene, so it's a really emotional one, but also there are all of these special effects and, you know, these big sequences, so we were filming it in like 5 or 10 second moments, you know, with like men, like skinny men in green suits chasing us, being the whites, and they're going to be replaced by computer graphics afterwards. So it was kind of hard to like, keep the tension and like the emotional stakes really high at the same time as filming these really short moments with like comical little green men chasing us, and like plastic bobbly caves. But yeah, it was great to film it and loads of fun. I mean, it's not often that you get to, you know, be a part of such a huge kind of set piece sort of sequence. So that was ace. And then yeah, the reaction was amazing. Like I knew that the fans were going to respond well to it because obviously Hodor is such a fan favorite, and the story was really, you know, a great way of kind of solving that name thing. But I hadn't quite expected how big the response was going to be. Like having pictures of Christian's face on like lift doors. I don't think I saw any of those, and that was a pretty great touch. Yeah, and I think, you know, it was really nice and very fitting for someone who'd play such a well-loved character that you got a really good send off. And watching it myself, I kind of almost forgot that I was in it because I was so impressed by how it was put together and, you know, how it was all edited, and yeah, I even my steely eye nearly moved towards a tear when I watched it. So yeah, I was very impressed with what they did with it. And like, I feel like Christian deserves a round of applause.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
It was made all the more made all the more thankful for us because a lot of us here at Pensacon, we had Christian here the first year, so we knew what a sweetheart he was, and it was such a beautiful thing to see him go. But,
You know, he's not actually dead.
yeah, in our hearts. So you guys have both had amazing character arcs on the show. Like your characters have really changed over time. So do you want to talk about that a little bit? Where do you think your character is now as opposed to when you started these roles?
My character definitely has a lot more muscles because she has a pull bran over half the country. My God. Yeah, so that's been pretty intense to say the least, because I actually do drag him on that sled. Sometimes they have a perfect plastic dummy, which is a perfect replica of him for the wide shots, but most of the time I'm just carrying that guy, and he's like a full head taller than me now. He just keeps growing. So yeah, if nothing else, Meera is just now hench. That's the word we use in the UK to mean strong. But yeah, I mean, also she's pretty destroyed because everyone that she loves has died, and she's probably got a bit of PTSD by now. So yeah, things are pretty sad in the place that we've left her in season 6. But I think that Bran needs to start getting a bit grateful, right? Because you don't think he said thank you once. And like, people have died with the guy, you know.
Rich kids though, right? Rich kids with so many, like, nobility.
So, Daniel, do you think that, I mean, definitely Pod has changed over the years. I mean, a huge change.
He had a haircut.
Yeah.
Had a haircut.
Still got the same outfit though, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You better start smelling pretty bad.
Yeah. I don't know, I think...
Is he a man now? Is he like, I mean, is he going to be like... But no, seriously, he's been a squire and he's been, you know, he's been subservient to someone else throughout the entire series, pretty much.
Some people pay a lot of money for that.
I know. This definitely isn't a family panel. But anyway, so where do you think he's going from here?
I don't think that he has any ulterior motive to being the person that he is and doing the stuff that he does. I kind of just think that he's getting older because I'm getting older and the show's going on, but he's more or less the same guy. Maybe a little more confident, but he's still the same selfless guy. He's just a really, really nice guy who has no desire to move towards power or status, and yeah, he's just happy. I think he wants a quiet life with a nice girl and a little house in the country, dog. But maybe we'll see a bit of a dark side. Who knows? Who knows? Just throwing it out there.
Okay, so and spoilers, guys. We're going to talk about spoilers here, but because the finale of last season, when you guys, because you guys don't know what's happening in the other places where they're shooting, you don't know what's happening.
They've started, I don't know about you, but they started only releasing scripts for the episodes that were in. Did you get that?
Yes.
Yeah. So I like you don't get to see what happens in all the other episodes unless you glean bits of gossip from other people in the hotel. You don't get to see it until it's done. So that's really exciting.
So where was your jaw when that episode ended? Were you guys? Was it on the floor like the rest of us? Were you shocked?
Well, I mean, you know, it's always kind of at the end of every episode is always pretty shocking, right? The Game of Thrones is like they've turned that into their technique, you know. So I'm almost like shocked if I'm not shocked. So, yeah.
The music was the one for me at the end of the all the way through the last episode of season 6. So you're used to this sort of big orchestral, sort of epic music, and then it was so minimalistic. It was just that piano. I thought the last 2 episodes were kind of like a movie. It's like a 2 hour movie, and those 2 episodes together, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it on TV before. So yeah, it was shocking. You kind of knew what was going to happen. Like we knew the basis of what was going to happen, who was going to make it, who wasn't, and all this kind of stuff. But to actually see how it's realised is amazing, because they always manage to make it better than you could possibly imagine on the page.
Well, I have a surprise, and I don't want it to be like a big surprise like it was on the show, but I think someone else wants to join us on the panel. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you give a hand for Mr. David Bradley. I'll move it. I don't want anybody to get confused that I'm David, other than he's my
Hello. I think all the musicians are up there with the crossbows.
So David, I have to ask you, since you became one of the most hated men in television, how do you approach a character like Walder Frey, who is just the epitome of awfulness?
Well, he's a family man. He just happens to have about 40 kids. And you can only approach it from the point we know as actors, you can't, I couldn't make a judgment on him and say he's a badass or whatever. You have to think what makes someone like that, you know, which is a question you always have to frame something like that. It makes it more interesting rather than being a cut-out baddie or a nice guy or whatever, because, you know, we're all, you know, multifaceted, we've all got different sides to our personalities, and he's someone who exists in a very harsh landscape, in a sense, and I suppose I thought of it in terms of like a mafia godfather or head of a Sicilian family who's someone who's shown a lack of respect. I suppose if his daughter had been promised to Rob Stark and Rob Stark's reneged on the agreement, he would, if he let it go, in his eyes, if he let it go, he would be seen as a weaker player in the game of Thrones, and would be taken advantage of and possibly got rid of, because they would have seen a chink in his armour and said, well, he's got a bit soft in his old age, and so it's a survival thing, I suppose, and he would see it as that, as if someone shows a lack of respect, you've got to show them that you're not like that, that you're capable of showing them who's boss. So that's what he does, and it's a very ruthless way of doing it, but as I said, that's the world he exists in. That's the world they all exist in, don't they?
So if you guys want to start lining up at the microphones on either side, we'll take some audience questions. And we'll start over here. Sir, what's your question?
I was wondering, what do you think of Jacob Anderson and the Ensemble?
Jacob Anderson is really cool. You know, he's actually got a band. If you look up Ravi Ritchie, it's a really cool music. He's an amazing musician. Yeah, he plays live in London and in England all the time. He's really good. I've actually met him outside of Game of Thrones because we have friends in common, and he's really cool. He's a great guy. But I think he's an amazing actor, but he's very multi-talented, so look up his music act.
I concur.
All right, we'll go over here, sir. Your question?
Yes. Knowing that your characters may or may not, well, David's already has passed on through the Game of Thrones, what other series of movies or television or kind of fandoms would you like to be in if you had a choice? I know David's been in a couple of them, but for the other two, really, where would you like to be? What kind of series would you like to do?
Stranger Things. really both really kind of fangirled out about when we met the guys from Stranger Things this weekend. It was quite an exciting moment for us all. Yeah, I think Stranger Things is one of the best new kind of, I guess, sci-fi series that are around. I'm really excited for the next season, so that one will be mine definitely.
I concur.
And I think David has been in pretty much every sci-fi franchise, fantasy franchise at this point. And over here.
Hi there. Okay, so my question is kind of a basic one, but who is your Game of Thrones crush, either male or female? This is great, but so not as a character, but at your own.
I'm a dog person. So I've always had the soft spot for the dire wolves and for the hound.
Back to you on that one. I'll think on it.
Yeah, me too. There's so many.
Yes, sir.
So this is an acting question. I'm just curious to know. I've been to a lot of panels before and spoken. I've heard a lot of the British actors speak. And I noticed you guys sound a lot different on television than you'll do in real life. I'm just curious the practice that you guys do. If you could let us know, what you guys do to get your voices ready to be on the show versus when y'all talk in real life.
I speak exactly the same, so maybe I just pronounce my consonants a bit more. But there's actually an accent coach, or a few of them, on the show who even teach Dothraki. So. They teach real and fictional languages, so they're kind of really making sure that everyone sounds right, even though it's a sort of fictional world. But yeah, I mean, I speak pretty much the same way.
I speak with a completely different voice. I think for me, it's just that it's an accent, and then it's just listening and repetition and trying to just practice and trying to sort of iron out the creases of whatever accent you're speaking and making it as native as possible, and then finding a character's voice. I suppose it's about trying to pair the body with the voice and the voice with the body and connecting it all together, and then you've got your picture. That's really all I can say at the minute. It differs from character to character, so for Podrick it was fairly straightforward.
Yeah, I like getting a script and just mucking around with it and trying out different ways of physicalizing it and vocalizing it. But really that's got to come out of what the motivation, what the character wants, what they're after. That's the most important thing. What does this person want out of life and in the story? And then, and sometimes, I don't know about you, but straight away the voice just comes like that. And I found that with Game of Thrones. I found the right kind of way of expressing him very quickly, whereas some things take a lot longer and need to be worked out, and trying out a lot of different things and finding it quite difficult. But, as I say, it varies, isn't it? But it's got to come out of what's in the script, not something. It's like practicing a funny walk before you've even absorbed the writing, or by doing that, you're making choices that leave you nowhere to go. If you want to be, you've got to be flexible on it and work out the right way to vocalize, whether it's an accent or if it's a higher register or a gravelly one or gargling on pedals or whatever, you know. And I just love, prattling around.
How much do the costumes play into getting into your characters in Game of Thrones? Because it is a very distinctively costume show. So how much does that play into into getting into character?
Well, I think sometimes you feel you're there. You feel you're starting to nail it, and then if you get the right costume and something like that, they're so onto it, aren't they? And as soon as you put it on, you feel the weight of this big jacket or whatever. It just gets you over the edge, just gets you over the line. And you think, oh yeah, this feels great. And on something like Thrones, it just happens because they're so right on with what they designed for your character, and it's nice when you agree or when it feels right what they come up with.
It's the detail that goes into all of it, from the dressing of the sets to like even the inside to the costumes. There's a lot of detail. Some of the stuff that the cameras would never pick up, and the dressing of the sets and everything. For me, that's hugely helpful, especially early in the morning when it's, you know, our call times are usually quite early. So it's a nice little help, a little boost, a little fast track as soon as the costume goes on and you go into this amazingly detailed set or this dressed location, then you kind of walk into the world. And for me anyway, it makes it really, really easy because, you know, so many amazing people on the crew have done half the work that helps me get there before I've even got there. So.
Yeah, I mean, I concur, as you would say. It's pretty fantastic when you get the opportunity to have a real proper head-to-toe, tailor-made outfit like you get on Game of Thrones. Like a lot of the time, you'll do a show, you know, they'll just like they'll like rent costumes or they'll like piece bits together. But I mean, I don't know about you guys, but for my costume, they know where every single bit of fabric came from. It's all from like, I think the coat is like this Italian laser cut leather, and then the horse, like the hair shirt that I have comes from like France, I think, and then there are these handmade boots, and everything was like made for me, to fit me, which was amazing. Like, and it really changes the way that you move as soon as you get these costumes on, which are obviously completely different from like jeans and a jumper. Obviously you're going to move in a different way. And as these two have said, you know, that really helps when it comes to inhabiting the character, because every character is going to move and talk and walk in different ways. So it's really helpful when you get a whole new kind of superhero outfit to play with. You can create a completely new character. You know, and as Dan says, the costumes are so detailed. It's like, I think they kind of make it so that if you were to get a close-up on anything, it would look perfect, you know, so just in case they choose to, you know, suddenly pick out like the lining of my rabbit fur cape, it will look perfect. And that goes for every single character, even down to like, you know, the people in the background who don't even have any words. So they really, Michelle Clapton, who's the head of the costume department, she really puts her all into it, and she's done a fantastic job, I think.
And especially in the more recent years, I've noticed the cameras you're using high definition film. There are things that they would probably let go maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, and now every little detail, if it's a loose hair or something, the high definition camera will really pick it up, because it's everything's made that will show up just as clear on a giant screen as it would on the TV. So they take extra care now to make sure there's nothing that looks too clean or just, as I say, a spare bit. Even a hair on I got to the age where you get little sprouts, little hair just coming out your nose one way. And they never used to bother shaving it off, but now the last 5 years I've noticed they always give my nose a shave. No, there's a camera who glint off the camera and distract.
And they've even got fake dirt, which every morning we have to rub into our fingernails, and you know, like in every crevice, I've got, basically all my makeup is just getting fake dirt rubbed onto my face. Face and hands. They always go hands at the beginning of the day, and yeah, just kind of very carefully with paintbrushes, paint dirt into every crack of the
I hate that. I think I'm going out tonight.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, over here. All right, so this is kind of like a really traditional question, but which character do you think will win the Game of Thrones versus which do you want to win the Game of Thrones? Personally, I wanted Robb Stark to win, but we kind of know how that ended up, so...
I don't think anybody's going to win. I can't can't imagine anybody winning now. I think it's going to be a pretty bleak landscape when it's all said and done. So I think winning at this stage is. But I would like, I don't know.
I'd like to have all the Stark kids like do a sort of joint rule, you know? Feels like, council, yeah, to get them all together, and I mean, even they're all pretty messed up now, but have them all back together, I mean, at least, you know, kind of nice, I think.
Yeah. Brienne would be good as well, Prime Minister.
As long as she keeps the armour on.
Yeah, always.
Well, it's such a cruel world, the things that have happened, well, the South particularly, that you think there's no moral compass in this show that anybody can go, you know, I mean, if what's in them, the Stark, the father, dies in the first series, you know, you think, where's this going? And it could be anybody. So I think that maybe, who knows, maybe some kind of natural justice will prevail in the end, and Arya Stark will be, but I think it could have been me!
Okay, so earlier when we went by Daniel Portman's table, he charged us with finding a question to ask him, because we never ask one. And we decided on something that's totally unrelated to Game of Thrones, but it's a nice conversational piece to get to know people, so it's for all three of you, and it's kind of a three-parter, but just something fun. We wanted to know if you could have any superpower for 48 hours, which one would you choose? What would you do with it, and why?
Wow. Three big questions.
It's best you don't know.
That's a really hard question.
It's, I suppose to be able to fly would be nice. Yeah. I mean, I would say invisibility. I have an invisibility cloak like Harry Potter. That is kind of open to sneakiness and perversity, you know.
I think I would probably...
Yeah, no, I was going to pretend I wouldn't want that.
I think I would have the power of being able to remember everything, because I'm an incredibly forgetful and disorganized person. So I would be able to remember everything, everyone's names, and all of the times and places that I need to be somewhere, which is an incredibly boring superpower to have, but I respect anyone who has it. So I think it'd be that, and then I would just not be late. Yeah.
I asked the question, you gotta answer now.
Okay. I'm going to say I would like the superpower that would enable me to pull from thin air the type of food that I was hankering for most at any given time.
Actually, a pretty decent superpower. I can see that as being very useful.
I told you it was best, you didn't know.
It'd be a great survival power. Thank you so much.
All right, we'll go over here.
I've got a couple quick questions for Daniel. The first would be, what kind of dog would Podrick have?
Chihuahua. No, I'm sorry, not a Chihuahua. They're so annoying. You'd have a really like a lab, you know, just like a dog's dog. You know what I mean? Like let's say a Labrador.
And since Podrick has come out to be something of a sexual
savant,
has the tenor of your fan interactions changed?
Excuse me. Excuse me. Are you suggesting that this has helped me in some way?
I'm just asking if anything has changed.
Everything.
Yeah, going off of his question, would you like to go
don't drink, I'm sorry.
But my question is for Daniel. I do love Podrick, and every time I see a scene with him and Brienne, I really want to see him kick ass, and I'm probably going to regret that, because you're probably going to get a fight scene now and die. You probably can't tell me if you are going to get any fight scenes next season, but is that something you would want to do? Because I know if I was a squire on set and everyone else around me was fighting, I would be really upset I couldn't get on the action.
I had one in season 6. So, season 6, I had one and it was great.
Yeah.
I'd like to do more of it. You get to swing the sword around. It's kind of what I wanted. I wanted to be a knight when I was like a young child, like 16, 17. When I was a kid, I really wanted to be a knight. So the fact that I get to ride around on a horseback with a sword and a sword belt on, and I get to, you know, pretend to kill people, it's fun. So yeah, more of that, please. That would be excellent.
All right, over here.
One of the joys of Games of Thrones is being able to talk about it the next morning with your friends and your colleagues, and both physically and online. Do you ever go to the recaps and the commentaries? I like going to AV Club and heydon'tjudgeme.com, but there's a bunch of them. Do you ever go online and see what people are saying about the episodes and follow the in-jokes and all that stuff?
I'd be too terrified to do that.
I concur.
You should.
Really? I mean...
Podrick's a huge favorite, so...
Definitely not going on there.
What was the name of that?
And a lovely lady over here.
I just wanted to know from an acting standpoint, what scene was the hardest for you all to kind of portray or get into?
Well, the shoot for the Red Wedding was obviously quite a tough one. It took a couple of weeks with so many different setups and everything, and so much blood in there. And but I suppose the very first scene in season 1, when you're trying to make something of this, you know, like when you've been in something for a while, you get in the studio, you slip on your boots, you put on the wig or the cloak or something, and you're back there, and it's like seeing an old friend again, and you know the territory, and you know what works and what doesn't work. But like the first one, if anything is big, it's long, you think, well, you've got to get it right, because you're establishing things that may... I mean, I didn't know I was going to be in season 3 and season whatever at the time, but you were hoping it would, if it's going to be a running role, then you want to make it have some kind of impact and make the right choices. And so I found that quite the hardest thing.
I would say, for me, the hardest one, but also the most rewarding one, was in season 4, when there's the kind of white fight outside of the cave where Jojen dies and, Meera has to kill off all of the whites and stuff, because I had to learn a really long stunt fight for that, which was really difficult. I'd never really done like proper fighting before, and got taught how to fight with an axe by a guy who played a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle in one of the original films, so that was pretty cool. But that was really tough, learning the choreography of the fight, because it's kind of like a dance. And that was really physically knackering, especially because I was wearing like a suit made out of about 40 rabbits. Dead ones, obviously. So yeah, that was really difficult, but then it kind of, there was a whole emotional thing of Jojen dying and all that stuff. So it was really tough, but for me it was my most rewarding one. I guess that's often the way, isn't it? When you know the most difficult ones are the ones that you appreciate the most.
We had a horse chase a couple of years ago, from the outside of Sun Tavern. Obviously, Podrick's not meant to be the greatest horse rider. And I was separated from Brienne, and then I rode the horse into the river, and I turned around and I was thrown off the back of the horse, and I had to spend, I think it was November or October in Northern Ireland, and I had to spend like the best part of a full day's shooting in and out of this water all day with this big leather tunic, getting heavier and heavier and heavier. the director kept telling me, look more frustrated. And I was saying, I'm trying, mate, trust me. But that was exhausting. It just got to the stage where we had to, I had to get all my costume off. I had to, you know, strip completely down because I was my body. Thanks. Yeah, don't all rush at once. Yeah, no, it was just my body temperature was plummeting, and yeah, I needed to get naked and eat chocolate and drink coffee. So, you know, regular Friday night.
All right, we'll go over here.
Okay, so first I'd just like to say, Ellie, I love your hair.
Oh, thank you.
David, you too.
Which one?
So, last year at this panel, someone came up and they asked a question for a tidbit or a spoiler or something like that. And the response that came from the stage was fire and lots of it. And me and my friends had a whole lot of fun watching the seasons, and several times a scene would come on and we'd be like, oh, that's what he was talking about. And we did that all the way up to the last episode, and we were like, okay, that's definitely what they were talking about. So, just for any of you, is there anything like that for the upcoming season you might be able to say that wouldn't tell us anything until we've already seen the scenes?
Death and lots of it.
Thank you.
We'll go back over here.
South Park did the Game of Thrones series. Did any of you guys see it, and what do you think?
Nope.
I didn't watch it actually, so I've heard about that. I'm going to check it out, thank you.
Yeah, me too.
All right, we'll go over here.
Alright, so this is for all three of you. If you had to choose one person from any time in your career to travel the world with for 1 year, who would it be?
Anyone from any point in our career?
Who you could travel the world with for a year?
For a year? That's a big commitment.
I'd probably go for like the richest person I've ever worked with. It'd be a pretty comfortable trip. Don't know who that would be.
I once, when I was like 12 years old, did a job with a dog who was incredibly charming. Probably me and him would just go on a trip together because, you know, when we won't get bored of each other because we can't speak each other's language. So, yeah, I guess probably that little pup and I go around the world. As long as we can get on flights, I think we'd be fine. So, yeah, I guess I'd choose him.
I actually did my first ever job when I was 17, and it was a terrible horror film in Scotland, but my best friend of my whole life was also in it, so that counts. So I'm going for a year around the world with my best mate. Thanks.
I think a certain cuddly Mancoon cat might be my...
Answer your question?
Alright, so yeah, so what was your answer? Who's your crush?
Oh! I'm still thinking. It's going to take me a while. Probably round when I'm back in London, then I'll have it.
Okay, this is a question for all of you. Earlier you said that you were a Stranger Things fan. Could you try to do an American accent for a Stranger Things audition?
I auditioned for it already. So, go on. Did I? No, thanks.
If there was someone with Stranger Things in the room right now, then I would, but I'm saving that.
Any
Never do an American accent, which we know you can, because if you watch the stream, you kind of have a non-English accent in that show.
Yeah. It's a kind of Armenian Brooklyn. Well, work that out. So,
That's pretty difficult yourself.
if someone can say it's not accurate, and say, well, there's a bit of Armenian in it.
right, if that's the final question, we're almost out of time. So I want to thank our guests for coming today and being here for us.
Mic check.